Hey, what's up? We're back, and this week it's for UFC on Fox 31, Kevin Lee against Iaquinta. But first, I think we have to go back talk about UFC 231. I mean, what an event, man! I usually start from the first fight of the night, but how can you not start with Max Holloway? I mean, what a fucking performance, man! I mean, just amazing. I mean, the way he came back, he was the underdog in that fight, which I thought was a little bit crazy, but he went out there, he proved why, he's a champion, he's the guy to beat, man. He dominated Brian Ortega, from pillar to post. He was landing that straight right hand. That straight right hand is a fucking piston, man. The volume, the pressure that Max keeps on guys is just relentless. It's unrelenting, and that guy's a problem, man. He's a freaking beast, and definitely has to be talked about as one of the pound-for-pound fighters, best fighters in the world now. And for Brian Ortega, I don't think his stock drops at all. He showed some incredible heart, incredible durability in there. What a chin Brian Ortega has. That was epic fight. Props to both guys. Awesome performance by Holloway. That's a performance that I think people will talk about like for the all-time best performances in UFC history, in my opinion. That was just tremendous, and the rest of the card was very good. Valentina was able to get in there, get a win over Joanna, and, she kind of was able to, like I said, if she was going to be able to land the takedowns, get the takedowns, stymie the forward pressure and the volume of Joanna, she was going to win the fight, and, that's what she was able to do. She was able to, land some nice body locks, take her down. I thought, in the third, fourth, and fifth round, Joanna started the rounds a lot stronger and with more volume, which I feel like she should have done that the entire rounds and the whole fight, and it would have been a lot closer. But obviously she was hesitant to engage because Valentina was always ready to counter, and she was also scared of being taken down. So great performance by Valentina, and she cemented herself as the best 125er in the world. No debates about it. She dominated Joanna, and she had a lot of success at 135. So I definitely think she's the person to beat, and I guess they're going to try to lock her up against Jessica Eye, which, I don't know. I don't think it's a very competitive fight, but I think Eye does deserve that fight. And for Joanna, she's in a bit of a quandary, because at 115, she lost to Rose twice, and at 125, she lost to Valentina 4 times. So she's almost in like a Joe Benavidez type thing when he was back in the day when he had those 2 losses to Demetrius Johnson, but she's in that problem with 2 divisions, so that's a big problem to have for Joanna, and she said she wants to go back down to 115, so I think she's really praying to, the MMA gods that Jessica Andrade gets the victory over Rose, and then maybe they'll put her in there for the rematch against Andrade, because other than that, I think she's kind of in a weird position. She's kind of like a gatekeeper to the top of the division now. The number 1 contender in 2 divisions very clearly, but failed at her bids for the title. So tough for Joanna, but great job by Valentina, big win, and she's the second UFC flyweight women's champion of all time. So, and really, in my opinion, kind of the first, But and then up next, Gunnar Nelson gets Alex Oliveira, and this fight was awesome, man. Cowboy first round came out hard. He was pressing Gunnar. Gunnar took him down, and he was able to get the back, and Oliveira was able to circle around, land some big shots on the ground, really beat up Gunnar, almost finished him, in my opinion. It was very close, and great performance in the first round by Cowboy. But then that second round, I thought Cowboy was doing better again. It looked like Gunnar was a little bit tired, but once Gunnar got him to the ground, he went straight to mount. It was a clinic from there. Cut him open with a nasty elbow, man. Cut him open really bad, and that's kind of what ended the fight. Cowboy turned right away, gave his neck. Gunnar got the rear naked choke, and, he had blood spewing out of his face. I'm sure he got like 50 stitches plus. That was a huge scar, but a huge cut. But, huge win for Gunnar Nelson. He came back after probably, I think, over a year off, and re-announced himself. He re-announced himself probably as a top 10 fighter, at least get a shot at a top 10 fighter. And Oliveira, he always brings it, man. He always comes. He has great fights, and he's always going to be someone that I'm always watching. I'm always going to tune in when he's fighting. So, I think that was a great fight for both guys. And for the next fight, Keem Dawodu against Kyle Bochniak. Dawodu was just too fast for him, man. He landed the jab, landed those leg kicks, made Kyle hesitant to close the distance, and won a pretty straightforward decision. The fact that it was a split decision is a little bit scary. I don't know how anyone could give that fight to Bochniak. He had a couple nice takedowns, but definitely was Dawodu's fight, and he's won 2 in a row after that bad first fight in the UFC, so he's kind of reestablished himself as a big-time prospect, and maybe he would even get a top 15 guy next, maybe, fringe top 15 even, but he deserves a bigger matchup in the next fight, and he definitely is developing. And next, Thiago Santos gets Jimmy Manuwa, and shit, man, what a fight this was. I mean, these guys just went in there, they went to war. Thiago Santos almost knocked out Manuwa in like the first 10 seconds, it looked like, and Jimmy showed a lot of toughness. He came back swinging, he rocked Thiago. I thought at the end of the first round, Jimmy almost finished Thiago Santos, so I mean, this was a back and forth first round, probably one of the rounds of the year. And then in that second round, Jimmy got hit again early, and Thiago was able to finish the job this time. And, it looks like Jimmy maybe doesn't take shots as well as he used to. He's getting older, been in a lot of fights, so chin looks like he's going a little bit. And Thiago's just a beast, man. I mean, he has a hammer on his chest for a reason. And, he went out there and he just bulldozed Jimmy Manuwa. I mean, great fight. Not bulldozed, but, in the second round he bulldozed him for sure. I mean, just beat the hell out of him and finished him off. So it was a pretty brutal knockout. And Santos now is, I think, 2-0 at 205. That was his first real 205er, though. But, won 3 in a row. I think he's won like 6 out of 7 fights. So definitely should be in line for a top 10 opponent next. I mean, maybe even top 5. Wouldn't mind seeing him, fight Alex or Anthony Smith again at 205. Maybe fight a guy like Dom Reyes or Jan Blachowicz. So, I mean, there's a lot of options there. And that division's kind of starting to pick up. Someone else earlier in the card fought at 205, Alexander Rakic, who I'm also pretty intrigued with as a prospect. But up next, Nina Ansaroff, Claudia Gadelha. And, I was kind of sad to see this. I'm a fan of Claudia. And, she just doesn't have it anymore, in my opinion, in terms of her gas tank, her ability to take punishment. It's all going a little bit. And, it really showed. That first round she took her down pretty easy, got on top, did some good work, definitely won the first round in my opinion. Second round she started strong again, but she gassed it like fell off a cliff when she gassed out, man. And Nina was able to keep her at range, land shots, and win a pretty clear 2-1 decision, and hard for Claudia to lose that fight, because, a lot of people thought she lost her last fight against Esparza, so that's 2 out of 3 losses. A lot of people maybe think 3 out of 3 losses. So she's definitely on the down tail of her career, it looks like. And for Nina Ansaroff, that's a massive win. I mean, she's won 4 fights in a row. Just beat the number 3 fighter in the world. So you would think that she's probably going to get a number 1 contender fight next. I mean, I don't think she's necessarily at that level, with those girls like the Andrades, the Roses, the Joannas, the Tatiana Suarez's, but, she's earned a right to compete against one of them and see if she is, that level. Maybe she could fight a Tatiana. I know her and Joanna are at the same camp, so I don't know necessarily what they would want to do with that, but that would be a fun striking match as well. And, there's a lot of options forward. For Claudia Gadelha, I mean, I think she should, I don't know, man, that's tough. I mean, I know she was saying that she would move to 105 if they created that division, but, I mean, to me, I don't know, maybe, I always thought she was a little big for the division. Maybe she could move up to 125, but, who knows, man. I mean, that's a big-time loss for Claudia. And up next, Gilbert Burns against Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and, this fight showed me maybe I'm sleeping on Gilbert Burns a little bit. I mean, just dominated Aubin-Mercier, showed some extreme strength, man. I mean, the way he was picking up and slamming, Mercier was pretty impressive, and, dropped him a few times and just won the decision very easily, just a dominant victory. So, great job by Gilbert Burns. He bounced back big time after that loss to Dan Hooker. And for Olivier Aubin-Mercier, that's now 2 losses in a row after he had a 4-fight win streak. So, he's going to have to regroup a little bit. For Gilbert Burns, he bounced back, probably going to get a top 10 opponent. I mean, in my opinion, he deserves it for his next fight. So, big win for Gilbert Burns there. And the next Jessica Eye gets Kayla Chookagian, and, this was my, on the parlay of the week, and I thought Kayla Chookagian won the fight, but, it was very close. Jessica Eye had a lot of pressure. She was moving forward, landed some bigger shots. I feel like she had more power than Caitlin, but, overall, I didn't really find the fight very fun. I went for a few takedowns. I thought Chookagian had good defense, and I thought she, maybe should have tried to take it to the ground after that, because she looked like she was pretty dominant there, but, overall it was a pretty uneventful fight. Jessica got the victory. I thought the post-fight interview was more fun than the fight. Jessica told Joe Rogan, like, stop staring at her butt or put it on her podcast or something. I don't remember, but pretty funny. And, she kind of called out for a title shot again. She's been very vocal for this division. So, I think she earned it, man. 3 wins in a row. I think she earned the right to go in there and test her skills against Valentino, which, I don't know how well it'll go for her. But, and then up next, we had Elias Theodorou against Eric Anders. And Elias was just able to frustrate Aaron Anders from the outside, first and third round with kicks, throwing at the air a lot, throwing some awkward shots. And Anders almost finished him in that second round. I mean, Elias was hurt really badly multiple times, but Anders just couldn't finish the job, and Elias got another Elias-type win. So, Elias keeps churning it out. I think he's won 3 in a row now, 5 out of 6 fights, which is pretty crazy. So, you'd think he could maybe even get a top 10 guy next. And for Eric Anders, that's 2 straight losses, and, that's pretty tough. He's lost 3 out of 4 fights. I think he needs to kind of take some time off. He's been taking a lot of fights back to back to back, so maybe he could take some time off, try to round out his game a little bit more, and then come back and, with some new skills, But up next, Brad Katona against Matt Lopez, and Brad Katona was just able to outlast Matt Lopez. I thought Matt Lopez started strong, but he has a terrible gas take, man, and it's pretty evident again here. And I thought this was actually a submission. I thought Katona should have got the submission, but he was able to get a decision victory. Big win after coming off tough, dropping down to his original weight class, and took a win over a guy that used to be in the top 15. But, that's 3 losses in a row for Matthew Lopez. In my opinion, he'll probably be cut from the organization now. So, tough loss for Matthew Lopez, but big win for Brad Katona. And then next, Diego Lima against Chad Lepre. And, man, I was pretty shocked by this fight. I thought that Chad Lepre's definitely would have been able to win here. And, Diego Lima caught him with a 1-punch knockout, and that's the sport, man. I mean, you can get caught, you can get knocked out, and Lima knocked him out cold. Chad Lepre lost 2 in a row now by knockout back to back. So definitely has some chin issues, and that's a huge win for Diego Lima. I mean, second win ever in the UFC, kind of re-earned his spot. He's going to get another fight, so happy for Diego. And I don't know, Chad, that's a terrible loss, man. I mean, I feel like he should go back to 155 if he gets another chance in the UFC and play it from there, see what happens. And then next, Carlos Diego Ferreira against Kyle Nelson. And, Diego had some, he was the most confident pick of the week, but he had to overcome some adversity. He got hurt to the body. Kyle Nelson was coming hard, but after about 2.5, 3 minutes, he really had an adrenaline dump, it looked like. He really lost his cardio. Diego came on strong, blitzed him, and, was able to take him out by TKO. So big win for Diego Ferreira. 3 wins in a row now, and 2 against pretty good competition. He was going to get a good fight here against Sean Makdessi, but obviously he pulled out, so he had to fight this newcomer. But my opinion, he deserves a top 15 fighter in his next fight. And up next, Alexander Rakic gets Devin Clark, and man, I mean, this was a pretty fun fight. Devin Clark dropped him, or really rocked him like 5 seconds into the fight, and then he was landing these illegal knees. I mean, 5, 6, 7 illegal knees in a row, and the ref's just looking at him. I'm like, are you going to break it up? What are you doing here? And eventually Rakic, was able to get himself out of that situation and win the fight by knockout, kind of with a weird shot, a spinning back fist that looked like it barely landed. So Clark's chin issues kind of reared their ugly head again for him, but, I don't know what the ref was doing, man. I mean, really terrible reffing in that fight. And I thought the judging on that card was very, very questionable at best as well. Kind of a weird night for the commission, but overall it's a great night of fights. So, great event, awesome event, one of the best events, you could argue that was one of the greatest main events in UFC history. So Max Holloway keeps making history, he keeps putting it on, and I saw Tony Ferguson called him out. I know that Dana's really pushed him to go to 155. I don't know if he wants to stay at 145. I saw Frankie Edgar today was on Ariel's show campaigning for a fight. So, we'll see where he wants to go with that. But we're going to move on now to UFC on Fox 31. And the first fight of the night's Juan Adams against Chris De La Rocha. And, This is an interesting fight. It's another step up for Juan Adams, who got a big win on Dana White Contender Series. And Juan Adams is huge, man. I mean, massive. I mean, I saw a picture of him standing next to Cain Velasquez, and he makes Cain look like Cain's like a lightweight, man. I mean, he's so much bigger than Cain. He's 6'5", 81-inch reach, probably weighs like 300 plus pounds in the off season, and he's a huge guy, and he's gonna be taking on, that Mexican with the big old head, Chris De La Rocha, who got the win over, Rashad Coulter in his last fight, and he's coming off that TKO. And he's going to try to stop the momentum, of Juan Adams. But Juan Adams, he's still young in his career. He's 4-0. He's raw. But he's a former wrestler. He has developing striking. He's very brash. He feels unbeatable at this point. And he has little to no respect for De La Rocha. He feels like he's going to run over him. I think he was calling him prey, the next victim, all this stuff. So he's definitely very, very confident. But he's improving with the striking. He has a better jab, good straight right hand. He likes to switch stances. He'll throw jabs from both stances. And when he walks fighters down near the cage, he'll let go of straight punch combinations. And he will throw a lot of front kicks to the body, low leg kicks. Sometimes he won't set up the kicks. He can get hit clean with punches. But he has a great chin, man. He just eats the shots like nothing. He's a huge guy, huge head. He's 4-0. He has 3 TKOs. And his other fight, which was a submission due to strikes. So he has big power, and he's a strong wrestler. And when he wants to take opponents down, he's been able to just take them down so far in his career. He's a massive guy, athletic for his size. He's willing to take shots to close the distance, get inside, good body lock takedowns. He'll just run opponents over. And on top, he likes to get to half guard and then to the mount. He's extremely heavy, has huge ground and pound, nasty hammer fist, big punches and elbows. Opponents seem to want out almost immediately after they feel that power on the mat. And he isn't a submission threat. He's never had a submission in his career, but he did go for a rear naked choke in his last match. Showed a little development. He has good takedown defense. It was laughable how easily he defended takedowns of his last opponent. I mean, looked like he was doing it with extremely minimal effort. And he's finished all his fights in round 1, but he seems to have good cardio, and just do whatever he wants to these guys. Fighters seem to be scared by his presence in there. He's able to bully fighters. I've yet to see what happens if he gets extended or brought into a war. And I think De La Rocha is definitely the more experienced striker. And Adams will be looking to get this fight on the ground. If he can close the distance, take De La Rocha down, I think he'll most likely get a finish. But De La Rocha is a tough guy. He's a lot of heart. He came to MMA late in life, but he was able to reach the pinnacle of the sport, get a win in the UFC. He's 39 years old. He's trying to squeeze the most he can out of his UFC career and try to win a couple more fights. And this would be a huge win and big upset for De La Rocha. I think this would be one of the biggest upsets of the year. But De La Rocha is a huge guy as well. He's 6'4", but he isn't nearly as physically imposing as Adams. De La Rocha has a decent jab, good straighted overhand right. He likes to throw the rear uppercut to jab combination. And he tries to use head move to get inside, but in close he doesn't move his head. He takes a lot of shots. He does have a great chin. He can take massive damage, continue to come forward. He has 3 KO TKOs in his career, but he isn't a big power puncher. He has a great chin, like I said, but he has been KO'd 2 times. He lost via TKO in one of those fights to Adam Milstead, where he seemed fine, but the ref just had seen enough of him taking shots. And he has been fighting, 2 fighters who are 205ers now, and this time he's going to be fighting a huge heavyweight. So we'll see if he can still take the shots of this guy that's really big. But De La Rocha is a decent grappler. He has good double leg entries. He'll push opponents to the cage, try to slow the pace of the fight. He'll try to shoot low singles as well. He has good body lock entries, but he doesn't throw many shots to the clinch. He'll throw some elbows over the top, knees to the body. He is decent with his jiu-jitsu. He has good back takes. He'll search for the rear naked choke. But he isn't a big submission threat or a big ground and pound guy either. He did finish Coulter with ground and pound, but it was very sloppy. Basically won due to Coulter being exhausted. He's 100% takedown defense in the UFC, but he hasn't had to defend many takedowns. And De La Rocha is trying to keep this fight on the feet, strike. He has better hands than Adams. And he has to sit down his punches, crack out, make him respect him early. And if De La Rocha doesn't have the power to keep Adams off him, it could be a quick night for him. But I'm going to go with Juan Adams via murder. I see brute force and physicality be enough to bulldoze De La Rocha. I see him taking shots, but eating them, handling him, continue to press forward. I see him landing some big punches on De La Rocha, rocking him, getting him to the ground, getting on top and finishing him. And I think it's going to happen in the first round. So I'm going to go with Juan Adams via first round finish in that one. And then up next we have Zach Cummings against Trevor Smith. And this is a pretty interesting fight. Zach Cummings is going to be making the move up to 185 pounds. And he's, been a long time been one of the biggest welterweights on the roster, so I think this is a pretty good move for him. I don't think he's going to be undersized for the division. But Trevor Smith is a dog. He's a perpetual forward motion on the feet, pushes the pace, he throws hard leg kicks, he has an okay jab. He will go away from the jab as the fight goes and just rely on wide hooks, which I don't really like, but he throws long and wide right hooks and follows it with a left hook. He has good power. He will throw the occasional body kick, but he doesn't have great head movement or footwork. He'll just plod forward, cover up to defend combinations, and fighters are able to slip uppercuts up the middle, hooks around the guard. He's slow with his hand combinations. Fighters with tighter, faster punches are able to counter him. But he has a great chin. He'll take punishment to get inside due to his style. He has been finished 4 times, though, and he isn't a power striker. He only has 1 KO in his career. But he is a former college wrestler. His basis for his entire style is wrestling. He uses hooks to cross the distance. In the clinch, he's powerful. He has good uppercuts, good hooks. He'll dig knees and hooks to the body. He has good control against the fence. He'll zap fighters' energy at the clinch. He has good double legs against the cage, good body locks. His takedowns aren't amazing, though, and I feel he will struggle to get Cummings down. But he has good takedown defense. He's a good scrambler, 9 submissions, good guillotines, good rear naked chokes. He also has a good arm triangle. He's got north-south choke. So he's a well-rounded submission grappler. He has great cardio. He pushes the pace. He forces fighters to fight unless they can take him out. And he's only been submitted 1 time by Tim Kennedy, but Smith used to throw leg kicks and overhands. Cummings likes to walk opponents down and pressure too, and if he can land big leg kicks, counter hooks, counter overhands while looking for grappling situations, in my opinion, that's his path to victory. But for Zach Cummings, he's stagnated in his career recently. He'd won 4 or 5 fights, but after injuries, he fell in the bathtub during a weight cut. He was out for over a year, and he returned. He lost a decision to Michel Prazeres. And now he's going to be moving up to 185, trying to jumpstart his career. But Cummings is a pressure fighter on the feet. He likes to walk opponents down with his jab, straight punches. He has a good check right hook, left uppercut. His straight left hand is powerful, probably his best shot on the feet. He has low output. He can get stuck waiting for his opponents to throw. He's flat-footed. Faster fighters close the distance, land, get out. And he will throw front kicks, round kicks to the body. He has a strong chin. He eats shots very well. Never been finished in his career. He has 6 KO TKOs, but he isn't a big power striker. He's a strong grappler as well. He's a black belt at BJJ. He was grinded out in his last match by Michel Prazeres, so I'm sure he'll be trying to show better takedown defense in this fight. But he's strong in the clinch. He has nice knees to the body, nice knees to the legs. He does a good job trapping the wrist, then disengaging with big combinations. He'll throw big hooks to the body. If he's able to be the stronger fighter to clinch and or deny it, he has a great chance to win this fight. And he could be taken down by fighters who can chain wrestle, but Cummings is good at denying initial attempts, jumping back up. Prazeres was able to keep him down by chaining takedowns together. He has good singles, body lock takedowns. He's very good on top. He has great guard passing, good ground and pound. Very nice submissions. He can flow on top of opponents when they try to scramble. He's hard to get up from under. He has 11 submissions. He's just been submitted 2 times, once by Tim Kennedy as well. But Cummings will slow down in third rounds in his welterweight fights. But maybe with his jump to 185, it'll help with that a little bit. But Cummings needs to use his jab, straight left hand, to catch Smith early, quell his forward motion. If he can catch Smith a few times as he closes the distance, I feel he'll be able to start going forward himself, control the pace of the fight, uppercuts in close. Should also be a part of his arsenal for this matchup, but I'm going to go with Zach Cummings. I see him being able to catch Smith early with the shot, get his respect, deny takedown attempts, discourage Smith, and I'd be able to lay clean shots over 3 rounds. What an easy decision, but I don't think he should look to engage in wrestling much unless he sees an easy takedown, because I think it's the easiest way that he can let Trevor Smith stay in the fight. So I think that he should try to strike, try to deny takedown attempts, get easy takedowns if he can find him, or find an easy submission, but don't push the grappling. And up next, we have Mike Rodriguez against Adam Milstead. And this is a very interesting fight. Adam Milstead is a guy who he has a full-time job, and he said that if he loses this fight, he's going to retire. So he's put a lot of pressure on himself. And this is going to be his second UFC fight at 205. He lost his first fight to Jordan Johnson, but it was a close match. And he is athletic. He's improving. He has a good jab. He likes to double up on the jab, follow with the overhand right. His overhand right is powerful. He can change the fight with 1 punch. Good hooks and uppercuts at close range. He'll jab to the body, then throw a left hook. He will throw the occasional leg kick, but he isn't much of a kicker, and he can't beat him with jab, straight punches because he loads up on his shots. He has a good chin. He will take shots to give his own. And he has 6 KO TKOs. He's only been finished 1 time by strikes. And he's improved his grappling. He showed much better takedown defense against college wrestler Jordan Johnson in his last match. He isn't much of an offensive wrestler. He will not try to engage in a clinch really either. and he's just a brawler. He definitely prefers to stay on the feet, throw hands. He was able to see the takedown entries of George Johnson coming, but he wasn't able to stop him from getting it on his legs. He would back up to the cage. He'd widen his base, try to land occasional knees and punches, make Johnson pay for the attempts, but he wasn't able to get his back off the cage. He has good cardio. He'll land short shots in close. He'll try to, change the course of the fight with a short shot in close. But he won't most likely not have to deal with the opponent who will constantly look for takedowns, grind against the cage in this match, and get to strike. Milstead isn't a grinder, like I said, but in my opinion, closing the distance, forcing Rodriguez to work with his back against the cage is a good plan for him. And if Milstead can control him against the cage, zap some of his energy, I see him having more success with his boxing later on in the fight. But Mike Rodriguez is a massive 205er. He's 6'4", he's 83-inch reach. He's a great athlete. He's a very interesting prospect for the division. He likes to use a lot of oblique kicks, front kicks to the body, powerful round kicks to the legs. He took Devin Clark off his feet with a leg kick. He has a nice jab, fast straight right hand. He doesn't throw much in combination, and I feel he's nervous to let his strikes go in close range for fear of being taken down. He also could get, a little bit too over aggressive, and he needs to show some more composure. He'll close the distance and smother his own shots, get taken down easily. And but he has a good right hook. He's nasty round kicks, front kicks to the body, and in space he's very dangerous. I feel he's going to be a problem for Milstead in space. He'll throw the front kick to the face, and he closes the distance with very nice jump knees. He dropped and finished his opponent on Dana White Contender Series with a jump knee. He needs to improve staying at range after he throws, not getting so close where his opponents can tie up with him. But he has 7 KO, TKOs, and 9 wins. He has a good chin. He's never been finished by strikes. He's an improving grappler. He showed that against Devin Clark. He still gets too close to his opponents on the feet. He allows him to get inside, close the distance, or duck under and take him down. But he used to be extremely easy to take down, but in his fight against Clark, he showed improved takedown defense against the cage. He was using an underhook to deny the attempt, landing nice short knees to the body. He was trapping the wrist. He was throwing knees and elbows. But he can't be taken down by reactive double legs. He's definitely gotten better using the cage to return to his feet. Showed a nice sprawl in space. He'll tackle Travis Brown elbows to the head, but he was still allowing himself to get controlled against the cage, and it was the main reason he lost that decision against Devin Clark. Rodriguez needs to use his distance, use jabs, straight punches, kicks. If he can keep the fight at the center of the cage, I see him having a major advantage. And I'm actually going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go with Mike Rodriguez. I feel that Milstead isn't a wrestler. He's never attempted a takedown in the UFC. And if he tries to use a heavy wrestling game plan, I feel Rodriguez will be able to use the cage, stay on his feet, do some damage, circle off, and kind of wear out Milstead, eventually land the better shots. And I think it'll be a fairly close fight, but I see Mike Rodriguez actually winning decision 29-28. So I'm going to go with Mike Rodriguez in that fight. And I'm next with Jessica Rose Clark fighting against Andrea Lee. And, first of all, I don't agree with the line on this fight whatsoever. I feel like this should be close to a pick-up fight. But, Jessie Justice coming off her first UFC loss. She lost to Jessica I. She changed camps. And Andrea Lee, she hasn't had much different issues. She was a victim of domestic violence, and this is her first fight since. I hope she's able to be 100% mentally invested in this fight. It helped her get over that rough time, but, she lost a corner person. That was her husband, so, big issue for Andrea Lee, and, she's 1-0 in the UFC. A win here would probably get her a top 5 opponent, but she's the LFA, former LFA 125-pound champion. She won 5 straight fights. She's a strong athlete. She's very physical, but she's only an okay striker. She throws a lot of inside-outside leg kicks. She'll throw a jab, decent check left hook. She'll throw an overhead right. She does a good job digging to the body with hooks. She'll throw hard body kicks, but she's a bit of a plotter with her footwork. She's hittable. Her defense leaves a lot to be desired. She could also throw kicks without setting them up, get countered. But Andrea Lee doesn't really have big power either, and it's hard for me to imagine that she's going to keep Clark off of her with striking. She only has 2 KO, TKOs in her career. She's very tough, though. She has a good chin. She's willing to take punishment, keep coming. She's never been finished by strikes. She's very strong in the clinch, and that's where she's, the strongest in the octagon. She has great control. She'll get a Singer collar or a Muay Thai plum, land hard knees to the body, to the head. She does a good job trapping her wrist while having an underhook, throwing hard knees to the body. She'll close the distance, get body locks along with double legs. She also likes to get hip tosses in the clinch. She likes to circle to the back, drag her opponents to the ground. She can't get too over aggressive going for takedowns, be countered, or end up on her back. But on top, she has hard ground and pound. She has good passing ability. She has good scrambling ability, able to float on tops, keep top position. She has solid arm triangle. She'll transition to the back very quickly. She has good rear naked chokes. She was throwing a lot of leg kicks from standing position in her last fight while Macedo was on her back. She was able to control large portions of the fight that way. But when she's on her back, she isn't very good. Once fighter's able to cement position on her, but she is explosive. She's hard to establish top position on. She'll jump back to her feet. She has 4 submissions in her career. She was submitted in her lone loss, and she needs to try to get in top position in this fight. I feel both girls aren't really the greatest strikers, but Clark is more seasoned on the feet. If Lee is able to bully in this matchup and impose her will with physicality, I think she'll get the win. But Jessica Rose Clark is trying to bounce back from her first UFC loss. She's training at Extreme Couture and various other gyms around Las Vegas. She wants to return to a grappling style. She felt she was trying to be too much of a striker, but Clark likes to come forward with the high guard, does a good job parrying and hand fighting. She isn't the fleetest of foot, but she's getting faster, more explosive. She cuts off the cage well. She throws nice leg kicks. The leg kicks going to be an important thing for Clark on the feet in this fight. Clark has a nice straight right hand. She closes the distance with good punch combinations, nice step and knees, hard body and head kicks. Both these girls are very tough. They're going to clash in the center of the cage, in my opinion. Clark has 2 knockouts. She's never been finished by strikes. She's strong in the clinch. She'll go for body lock takedowns, laying hard knees to the body, to the head. Whoever controls the clinch in this fight most likely will win the fight. She's very heavy on top. She likes to get in half guard control, top position, look for arm triangles. Good job controlling position, winning the round. She's good at fighting instinctively in scrambles. She pulled guard, went for a leg lock, transitioned into a double leg against Paige Van Sant. Later in the round, she got shook off the back and then immediately locked in a triangle. She's good off her back, and I feel like she has the better jiu-jitsu than Lee. And she has good triangles, a good high guard. And she's going to have the faster hand speed and close range. And I feel this fight will be a grinding clinch wrestling fight with a lot of scrambles. And if she can get on top of Lee, I don't see Lee getting up. And whoever wins the grappling in this fight will be the winner. So I'm going to go with Jessie Jess. I feel on the feet she throws more volume. She has a larger toolbox on the feet with kicks. And I feel that she's just the smarter grappler. I feel like she's going to be able to win the scrambles. I think Lee's going to get a little too over-aggressive going for takedowns. I also believe she could threaten her with submissions off her back, where I don't know if Lee could threaten Jessie Jess. So I'm going to go with Jessica Rose Clark to get the upset here and win a decision. And up next you have Dan Ige against Jordan Griffin. And, this is an interesting fight. Jordan Griffin will be fighting in his UFC debut in his home state. He trains out of Rufus Sport. And that's a thriving camp at the moment. They've been having a lot of success. He's an athletic fighter. He has solid striking. He has a good jab, straight right hand. Closes the distance quickly. He's explosive. He has hands low style, good movement. He's very aggressive closing distance with straight punches, hooks. He can be clipped with straight punches himself, but he has good body kicks, nice head kicks. He's gotten a head kick knockout. He can give his hips when he closes the distance and get taken out very easily. He can't do that in this fight against Dan Ige, but he has 5 KO TKOs in his career, and he has been finished by strikes 1 time. He has a good chin. He's an explosive fighter. He has a decent grappler. He'll close the distance. He'll land big slam takedowns. On top, he has nasty ground and pound. He'll stand up in opponent's guards, land big hammer fists, big punches. He's good at dropping opponents with punches, then latching onto submissions, jump on the back, get rear naked chokes. He's able to get taken down, and he isn't great off his back. He'll use a guillotine to try to counter takedowns. He has 3 guillotines. But on his back, he did get an armbar recently, but from what I've seen, he's not great. He allows fighters to quickly get in dominant positions. He has been submitted twice. And Griffin needs to keep the distance, not getting grapple exchanges unless he's going to get a takedown himself. He needs to use movement, throw straight punches, angle off, not allow himself to get backed up against the cage. And if he can keep the fight standing, use his athleticism and striking, he could win a decision or land a big shot, stun Ige, and then get a submission. He has a lot of fights. He's a veteran. But Dan Ige is coming off a dominant victory over Mike Santiago. He has good clean boxing, nice jab, very good straight punching combinations. He'll throw a nice long uppercut. He has good hand speed. He likes to make opponents move backwards, keep the pressure. Does a good job cutting off the cage, not chasing. He has nice short elbows. He's tough. He's Hawaiian. He's very aggressive. Good job faking takedown attempts, coming up with uppercuts. And he blitzed his last opponent very quickly. He earned a dominant TKO in less than a minute. Or less than 2 minutes. I think maybe even less than a minute. But he has 2 KO TKOs, both with ground and pound. He has a good chin. He has his ability to eat punishment, continue to move forward. He's never been finished in his career. He's a great grappler. He's a black belt. He's also a former college wrestler. He has good double legs, good body lock, clinch takedowns. On top, he's a crushing top game, moves quickly to mount. He'll take the back. He lands brutal ground and pound. Nice rear naked choke. I feel he's going to have a major advantage if he can get on top of Griffin. He does have questionable takedown defense himself when he gets tired. He can get taken down, but he has a good bottom game. He has nasty Kimura counters to takedown attempts. He'll attack with arm bars, with triangles. And he's shown he has good cardio. In other fights, just I feel like he got tired in his fight against Julio Arce. But he can push for 3 rounds in other fights that I've seen. He has finished 7 of his 9 wins, and he needs to use his hands to close the distance, get the takedown, work the dominant position where he could find a finish. And I see him trying to overwhelm Griffin early because he had success with that in his previous matchup. But I believe Ige will get it done here. I see him being able to land a straight punches or hook punches, get Griffin moving backwards, land a double leg or reactive shot when Griffin tries to close the distance. And I think if he gets on top, he'll be able to get the back and finish the fight. If not, he'll do damage, but I think he'll finish. He'll get a rear naked choke late in round 2, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with Danny Ige to get the win in that one. And up next, you have probably, in my opinion, maybe the closest fight on the card with Jack Hermansson against Gerald Meerschaert. This is a fun fight. Both these fighters are strong grapplers. They battled through adversity to win their last fights. Hermansson sustained a knee injury against Talis Leitis. He was in visible pain, almost finished. He somehow, summoned the will in the next round to get in top position and finish the fight. And Gerald Meerschaert, he gave a vet less than Oscar Pichota. He weathered a storm, and then he finished him. And Meerschaert's a massive 185er. He has a decent jab, straight right hand. He looks to counter with right hooks. He likes to get fighters' backs against the cage. We'll unload with big punching combinations to the body, to the head, short elbows. He has nasty kicks. He throws nice low leg kicks, powerful body kicks. He'll go up top with head kicks as well. Overall striking to me is not great. He leaves his head on the center line. He can be hit clean with big counters. He is heavy on his lead leg. He can get it chopped down. He's very tough. He has the ability to take a shot and keep going, and that's the key to a lot of his victories. He has 6 knockouts in his career, but overall he's not a big knockout threat on the feet. He's only been finished by strikes 1 time. He's getting a fight at home. He stated that this is just 1 step below fighting for a title, so he should be extremely pumped, ready to go come fight time. And Meerschaert's a good grappler. He has a lot of submissions in his career, but he is susceptible to being taken down and submitted himself. He has good single leg takedowns, and he does a good job of timing singles when opponents throw kicks. He has very nice body lock entries, very physically strong in the clinch. He has good control, nice short knees and elbows. He'll grind in the clinch and then eventually drop down for a double or single. He has good chain wrestling. He can transition from body locks to doubles to singles very fluidly. On top, he has strong ground and pound. He'll rain down straight punches and elbows. Very good guard passing. He's very heavy on top, very opportunistic with chokes. He has a lot of different chokes he could pull off. He's got in guillotines, arm triangles, anacondas, rear naked chokes. He can be taken down pretty easily with body locks or double legs. He allows fighters to move quickly to dominant positions, but he stays calm. He'll lose rounds through being controlled, but then he comes back and wins the fights. He has 20 submissions in his career. He has been submitted 7 times, but Meerschaert should try to not chase, cut off the cage while walking down Hermansson. Hermansson uses a lot of movement, and if I were Meerschaert, I would look more to counter, look for takedowns in this fight. And he should look to catch Hermansson as he closes distance with straight punches, time takedowns off Hermansson's kicks. And I expect to finish in this fight. Gerald Meerschaert had 37 fights, only 3 decisions. He hasn't gotten a decision since 2014. And in his home state, I see him going for the kill here. But Jack Hermansson showed huge heart. He battled through injury to defeat Talis Leitis. He's going to be looking to build on that with a win here. Hermansson has won 3 or 4 fights, and with the win here, he'll most likely be looking at a top 15 opponent. And Hermansson's also very big for the division. He's a quicker, more fluid athlete than Meerschaert, though. He uses a lot of lateral movement. He stays light on his feet, in and out. He likes to throw a lot of oblique kicks, kicks to the knees, front teeps to the body. He throws a lot of round kicks to the body. He closes the distance with jabs to the head, to the body. He also throws counter left hooks, but he doesn't really throw his hands much. He has an improving jab in his last match. He was throwing a straight right hand. And he had 11 KO TKOs in his career. He's only been finished 1 time by strikes, also by Thiago Santos. And Hermansson's a strong grappler. He's a crushing top game. He uses movement on the feet to frustrate opponents, get them over-aggressive, then duck under, get takedowns. He has great reactive double legs. He's also strong in the clinch. He's able to muscle opponents to the ground. On top, he has great top game. He has good guard passing. Quickly move to mount or the back. He'll try to finish the fight. Very big ground and pound, big punches, big elbows. He likes to get opponents' backs, flatten them out, and not let him get out of the position. He has great control. He's definitely going to want to get on top of Meerschaert in this fight, but he has good takedown defense. But opponents are able to land reactive double legs if they can time his leg kicks. And off his back, he was quickly submitted by Cesar Ferreira. But then he survived a deep choke against Taos Leites, so he looks to be improving with the jiu-jitsu defense. He has a never say die attitude. He got almost choked unconscious by Ferreira. But he isn't a big submission threat. He just has 3 submissions. And he has been submitted twice in his career. But he has good cardio. He sticks to game plan. And I see Hermansson implementing the same game plan as usual. Movement, kicks on the feet until he can time a takedown, get on top. And if he can get in a dominant position against Meerschaert, he'll have the opportunity to finish. But this is a close fight. But I see Hermansson being the more likely winner. I feel like the movement of Hermansson will make Meerschaert struggle to find his range and connect on his shots. I see Hermansson being able to get takedowns, especially early, and when he gets on top, I think he'll be able to control him and move to dominant positions. And I see him landing big ground and pound shots. Meerschaert's very tough. He's able to move, survive. He needs to be very careful not to get swept or put on his back, Hermansson that is, because Meerschaert's dangerous submissions. He also cannot go all out for a finish unless he knows it's over, because if he gasses, Meerschaert will come back and win the fight. And I see Hermansson, just being able to use movement, land takedowns, have control, time in every round. And I see him winning, a decision, maybe 29-28, maybe slowing down a little in the 3rd round. But, I feel like Hermansson has the game plan to get it done here. And up next, we have Joaquim Silva against Jared Gordon. And, this is a very close fight. I see a lot of people going both ways on this fight. I feel like a lot of these fights on this card are very close, but Joaquim Silva is an explosive, scary Jack Brazilian. His nickname is Neto BJJ, but he actually prefers to strike, and in my opinion, does not have a good style to win decisions, really. He's low output. He allows players to control the center, go first, dictate the pace, but he's powerful. He has a nice overhand right, good check left hook. He'll throw a check left hook, overhand right combination. He'll throw hard inside leg and body kicks. And he'll stay in the pocket, throw wild hooks. And, he was able to land some nice leg kicks against Reza Madadi. Did a good job against Reza Madadi, landing big hooks to the body. He likes to throw flying knees, and he will throw them a lot when fighters are against the cage. He definitely likes to get more aggressive as the fight goes on in round 3 if he feels he needs to finish. And he doesn't throw very many strikes, but he gets a lot of forward pressure, tries to force fighters to make mistakes. And he's good at catching kicks, returning with punches. He has 5 knockouts, and he's never been finished by strikes, so he has a good chin. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but he's not really an offensive grappler. He does have a decent clinch. He'll land hard knees to the body, to the head. He has nice elbows in close. But he has 0 takedowns in his UFC career. He's only attempted 1. He is improving with his takedown defense, but he still can't be taken down with well-timed double legs. And in the clinch against a cage, he has good guillotines. He'll try to counter takedowns with it. And he can't get too over-aggressive. He'll pull guard. He ends up on his back. And on his back, he's not very good. Fighters are able to control it from top position and land nice ground and pound. He does have a decent guard. He'll use it to return to his feet. He'll also get aggressive, try to jump on the back. He'll get too high or end up on bottom. And when he gets on top, though, he'll throw huge elbows and punches. He has good cardio. He usually gets better as the fight goes on. He has 3 submissions and none in the UFC or tough. But he has been submitted 1 time by rear naked choke. And he needs to be more aggressive in this match, throw more volume. He's a dangerous striker when he lets his hands go. And if he can control the center of the cage, I find it hard to see, Gordon being able to win a striking match against him. But I feel like Neto BJJ has a hard time to win a decision here. He needs to come out fast, try to finish the fight. And for Jared Gordon, he's a grinder. He's coming off his first UFC loss. He got finished by Diego Ferreira. He's going to be looking to bounce back here with the victory. But the most evident thing about Gordon's striking game is pressure, man. Forward movement. And he's always walking his opponents down. He stalks him toward the cage. Nice check left hook. Good jab. And he has a good straight right hand. He'll throw straight punches in combination in close range. He has a decent body kick. He is hittable because he walks forward, but he's tough. He continues to take shots and slowly breaks his opponents down. His forward pressure is going to be key to success on the feet. He needs to make Silva fight moving backwards, control the pace. And Gordon has 6 knockouts. He has been finished by KO twice. But, he's a very good wrestler, and that's going to be his key to victory. He'll use his punches to set up his double legs. He does a good job using his double leg to push his opponents to the cage, change it into a single. He's strong in the clinch. He has nice short punches, good elbows. Good job ducking under and landing reactive doubles as well. On top, he's strong. He has good ground and pound, good control. He likes to get into half guard posture up, throw elbows and punches. He's very active with ground and pound. He does a lot of damage. He's heavy on top. He has a pressure game. Good job staying out of his opponent's guards, raining down big shots. He likes to get to side control, get the cruising position. He has phenomenal cardio. He doesn't slow down at all. And he did get tired when he went down to 145, but at 155 he seems like he's had great cardio against Hakra Diaz. And he has 2 submissions. He's never been finished by submission. He needs to use forward pressure punches to set up his takedowns, clinch work. If he can get Neto BJJ down, land some ground and pound, make him work, he can wear him down and win the fight. And I think Jared Gordon's going to get it done. I see him coming in here with a lot of hunger to win the fight and just wanting it. I think that this is a tough matchup for Neto BJJ. He lost fighters to control the pace, stalk him to the cage. He also is willing to, try to go for things like guillotines, things like that. And I just don't think he has the wrestling at the level of Gordon, even though he's improving. I think he needs to try to get a first-round finish. And 9 of Neto's 10 finish wins are in the first round. But I feel as if Gordon will win the match. I think he's going to take him down, control the pace, walk him down, lay ground and pound. He needs to be safe, not to get hit clean or get submitted. But I see him being the guy more likely to win the fight. So I'm going to go with Jared Gordon to get the win here. And up next here, Bobby Green against Jakar Klose. And yet another close fight on this card. Jakar Klose is coming off an upset victory against Lando Venata. He's won 3 of 4 fights in the UFC. And Bobby Green's coming off a big win over Aaron Koch. And Green's a stance switcher. He has good boxing skills. He holds his hands low, uses a lot of head movement, shoulder rolling to avoid punches. Great jab to the body and the head. He'll follow with jab with a hard right hook or straight right hand. He's a nice overhand right. He throws a nice check left hook. He likes to throw oblique kicks to the knees, front kicks to the body. He catches kicks well. He'll return with counter punches. He'll throw nice round kicks to the body, to the head. He keeps heavy forward pressure volume on opponents. He lands 5 significant strikes per minute, almost 2 more than Jakar Klose. And he will walk opponents down with his hands by his side, counter, and land hard body shots. He's hittable with overhands, but he has a great chin, rolls with shots to lessen the impact. He has the ability to get dropped, hurt badly, such as versus Lando Venata, recover and perform. He has 8 KO TKOs. He's only been finished twice by strikes. And he's a former wrestler. He's a strong grappler. He's very athletic. He can close the distance to clinch quickly. He does a good job digging the underhook, pushing opponents to the cage, landing knees to the body, elbows to the head. He was landing nasty punches and elbows in the pocket against Aaron Koch. He will attempt body lock takedowns and go for good slam double legs, but he rarely puts much effort into getting the fight to the ground. He has great takedown defense. It's hard to hold him down, and if you can't put him on his back, he isn't very dangerous. You don't really have to worry about getting submitted. But on top, he has good submissions. He has a nice arm triangle, good rear naked chokes, 9 career submissions, but only 1 in the UFC. He has been submitted 2 times. He has phenomenal cardio. He's usually stronger in the 3rd round than he is in the 1st. He's a much more experienced fighter, and I feel he really showed he had that confidence back in his last fight. He was talking to Koch. He was walking him down with his hands down. And Bobby Green is at his best when he's confident in his element, talking to his opponent, having fun. And Bobby Green needs to stay off his back, keep his back off the cage. He needs to pressure Klose, push him back with the jab, with body kicks. And I don't know if he wants to grind and clinch against a fighter like Klose, but I do feel in the pocket in the center of the cage, Green can piece him up. And if Klose can win clinch position, if Green can win clinch positions against the cage, I feel that'll be a big side for Bobby Green to win the fight. But Jakar Klose is a young, confident fighter too. He likes to talk. This could be an entertaining fight, and that's an aspect also, the shit talking. But he's a very cocky and almost shows disdain for his opponents. He's striking. He'll walk him down with his hands down. He has good leg kicks, especially the low calf kick. MMA Lab is known for that kick. That's where he trades. He will close the distance with big uppercuts, big hooks. He does leave himself open to shots to the body. And he doesn't have great hands, so he prefers to be all the way in or all the way out. Throws a lot of body kicks, head kicks, leg kicks from the outside. Does a lot of mugging to try to get opponents to close the distance when he can dunk under, shoot a takedown. He likes to throw a lot of explosive attacks, close distance, get in a clinch, like Superman punches, flying knees, spinning back fist, and kind of just all to close the distance, stay active. He will throw uppercuts after he ducks under. If he can't get takedowns, and he catches kicks well and will get takedowns off of the caught kicks. He'll also keep a lot of forward pressure, and in this fight especially I could imagine him try to close the distance quickly, get the fight to the ground or against the cage. He has 4 KO, 2 KOs, he's never been finished. He's a great wrestler, he's very strong in the clinch, he does a good job ducking under punches in the pocket, getting it on singles and doubles. He uses the single to push his opponents to the cage and work from there. He has nice short knees, elbows, foot stops, he has good control. He isn't as dangerous or effective with the short range attacks as Bobby Green in my opinion, but he may have better control and be able to nullify Green's offense. He's very strong, he'll lift opponents to the clinch, circle to the back, try to drag him to the ground. He doesn't have great takedowns in MMA. He hasn't been able to hold down many fighters in the UFC, even when he gets them down, but he has great cardio. And I do feel he hasn't been pushed or forced into a war that Bobby Green will bring him into. And Klose needs to get in the clinch early and often, grind on Green. I feel at distance he'll be able to land some shots, but Green will have more volume. And he has to be the one controlling the clinch, and he can't let Green out volume him there as well. But this is a close fight in my opinion. The line should be close to a pick'em. I don't know why it's so wide, but I feel that range the jab, the forward pressure will be a new challenge for Jakar Klose. The fighters he has fought so far in the UFC, they've all been movers, and he's been a guy that really likes to chase guys down, bring the fights, and they've been good matchups. Guys like David Tabor, what's that guy's name? Powell. He fought against Lando Venata, who's another mover, another kicker. Mark Giacchese. So, all those guys are guys that don't pressure. They like to kind of keep their distance, make it a range fight. In this fight, you're going to get another guy, Green, that I think is also very strong in the clinch. He has good offense in the clinch. He's going to land the more eye-popping shots. And I kind of really want to pick Green here, but I feel like Klose is going to be able to shoot, create extended clinch exchanges he can control, reshoot, and win a very close grinding style fight. So I'm going to pick Jakar Klose via split decision in that fight. And up next we have Zach Otto against Dwight Grant. And, this is an interesting fight. Zach Otto's coming in on short notice to fight against the UFC debutant Dwight Grant. And Dwight Grant's coming off a nice knockout win on the Dana White Contender Series. And while Otto's coming off a back-and-forth fight, which he lost to Sage Northcutt by TKO. And Otto trains in Wisconsin at a Pura Vida BJJ, so he's getting a home game even though it's on short notice. Dwight Grant, he's an explosive knockout artist out of AKA. He's very athletic. He can close the distance with one shot. He's 34 years old, so if the onus is on him to get going right away if he wants to make a UFC title run or even a, long career out of this. He is a bit awkward in the way that he moves, but he has a really long reach, 78 inches. He uses it to his advantage. He has a very wide stance. He likes to move in and out of range, draw out strikes of his opponent to counter. He likes to lead back, come over the top with overhand rights. He'll throw a slip left hook, overhand right combination. He doubles it up at close range. He's aggressive. He'll close the distance with uppercuts and hooks. He'll throw nasty hooks to the body with big power. He really loads up on his punches. He'll throw hard, low leg kicks, but he isn't much of a kicker. He landed a devastating overhand right, left hook combination to get a knockout in his last fight. And he's always dangerous because he has that right hand cocked. He's heavy on his lead leg. Fighters able to beat up his lead leg. He allows fighters to back him up as well. But his right hand makes opponents nervous to throw when they're in range. And he has 6 knockouts in his career. He's never been finished by strikes. He's trained at an amazing wrestling gym at AKA. He's really improved his takedown defense. He isn't an offensive grappler, but he will catch kicks, get takedowns, put him in the clinch that way. He has a great sprawl. He does a great job getting a wizard in the clinch, circling to the back. He's explosive if you take him down. He's hard to hold down. He's never been submitted. He's never gotten to submission himself. He has good cardio. He shows he holds power in the third round with a couple third-round KOs in his career. Grant needs to play his game. He needs to move and counter with powerful shots. I feel Otto will try to beat up that lead leg and take him down, so he has to be ready to counter, catch the leg kicks, and defend takedowns. Otto has a questionable chin. If Grant can force him to stay standing for 3 rounds, there's a good chance that he could put Otto to sleep. But Zach Otto's been inconsistent so far in his UFC career. He's never won or lost 2 in a row. He lost his last fight, so if the trend continues, he will get a win here. And Otto's a big welterweight. He's a solid athlete, a former college football player. He has a good jab. He throws hard leg kicks. He's aggressive. He'll throw hard hook combinations. He has powerful overhand right. It's his most dangerous shot. He'll attack with body and round kicks. He's good at switching stances, being able to throw a nice jab from both stances. But he has a questionable chain. He's been finished 3 times by TKO, and he only has 3 TKOs himself. He isn't a great power striker. He is a solid overall grappler. He's strong. He does a good job denying clinch and takedown entries. But if you get it on his legs, you can get him down sometimes. He has a good ground game off of his back. He stays safe in his guard. It's hard to pass or do a ton of damage on him. But he did get finished with ground and pound in his last fight. He does a good job getting butterfly hooks, pushing off, standing back up. He will work for arm bars, triangles. He was able to stand up off bottom against Sergio Moraes. He didn't get subbed. That was very impressive. He can reverse, get top position where he'll look for the back, hit the rear naked choke. He has good double legs. And I think he'll be trying to get this fight to the ground. He's methodical on the ground, but he's not very dangerous with ground and pound. He has a black belt in jiu-jitsu and he has 10 submissions. He has been submitted one time in his career, but Otto needs to use forward pressure, cut off the cage, get inside of Grant's long reach. He needs to get in on the legs, get takedowns, or make Grant work in the clinch. He also needs to throw hard leg kicks early and often. But I feel Dwight Grant's going to get the win here. He's the better athlete with the full camp. I see him being able to defend the takedowns of Otto, eventually connect with a big shot, finish the fight. Even if he doesn't finish, I see him landing the harder, cleaner shots that make the judges remember. But I see Grant be a second round knockout in this fight. So I'm going to go with Dwight Grant to get his first UFC win. And up next we have Jim Miller taking on Charles Oliveira in a rematch from 8 years ago. But a lot has happened since then. Jim Miller got the win by submission in that fight. But Jim's now 35. He's coming off a big win, but he's still probably in the last chapter of his career. And Charles Oliveira is now 29. He's won back-to-back fights. And he set the record for most submissions in UFC history in his last match. So he does have a lot of confidence coming in here. But Jim Miller, he's still a beast, especially in round one. He comes out fast, but he tends to slow down now with older age. He has a nice jab, straight left hand. He also has nasty low leg kicks, powerful overhand left. He does a good job disguising it with level changes. He'll throw the overhand left, right hook combination. His straight left hand was super fast in his last match, and he was attacking the body with the straight left hand, the same way he hurt Yancy Medeiros. He closed the distance with the straight left, right hook to the body to an overhand left, dropped White, finished with the rear naked choke, less than 2 minutes. He likes to lead with the inside low kick, follow with the left hook. He has hard body, head kicks. He'll blast through your arms with them. He likes to throw the right uppercut to straight left in the close range. He still has fast hands, dangerous boxing in the pocket. He has improved his lateral movement. He catches fighters as they come inside with the inside leg kick, right hook. He's an in-your-face striker most of the time. Due to that, he is hittable. And he has a problem when fighters push him backward strikes. He doesn't have great movement going backwards. He can get trapped against the cage. And he has tried to address that part of his game. He does a better job circling off. But he only has 2 KO TKOs in his career. But he does pack power. He drops opponents and submits them. And he has shown a stellar chin over his career. He's only been finished via strikes twice. He is a fantastic wrestler. He has a black belt in BJJ. He does a great job landing reactive double legs. He hides them well with his punches. He has a good single leg as well. He can use it to drive his opponents to the cage, get double legs. He's very dogged with his attempts. He's willing to take punishment to get to the fight to the mat. On top, he's awesome. He has great control, scrambling ability, very good at flowing. He's always looking for submissions. Also does a great job fighting the back, getting rear naked chokes. He's willing to really go for submissions such as guillotines, back takes. And when he gets them, he'll look great. He looks great, but if he also gets him in trouble when he doesn't, he can end up on his back. He's been susceptible to takedowns himself, but it's been against larger wrestlers, guys like Benson Henderson, Francisco Trinaldo, Chiesa, Dariush, Pat Healy. They were all able to grind him out. Charles Oliveira doesn't really have that size or skill set. Makes for an interesting fight. He does have a good bottom game, that is Miller, and he's very aggressive. He'll work a high guard, look to throw out triangles, arm bars. He has good leg locks. He was able to catch Oliveira at a knee bar in their first match. Miller has 15 career submissions, 9 in round 1. He has been submitted 2 times. Miller needs to be aggressive, move forward, throw leg kicks, a straight left hand, get in the face of Oliveira. If he could push Oliveira, make him question himself. We have seen Charles quit before. The fact that Miller was also able to submit Oliveira so quickly, I believe will give him confidence in grappling situations here. But he still has to be very careful. But Jim Miller has the most fights in UFC history, someone you can never sleep on. He always has the potential to take opponents out. And Charles Oliveira is making his UFC return after setting the record for most submission victories in UFC history. He's really looking for the first 3-fight winning streak in his career since 2015. And he is a good long-range striker. He's improved a lot since his first matchup. He has nice round kicks to the body, to the head. He'll throw them without fear of being taken down. He throws nasty front kicks to the body. He does a great job attacking the body. Often with the jab as well. He has a nice straight jab, nice straight right hand, and he'll throw he'll close the distance with the straight right hand, a left uppercut combination. He has nice step-in knees, and while he has improved with his range striking, he's still looking to close the distance, and he stands very tall. In my opinion, that's a problem in this matchup. I think it makes him susceptible to overhands being taken down, and most of the time being taken down isn't an issue, but against Miller, Oliveira does have to be worried about being taken down. And Oliveira can be at desperate times on the feet, also recklessly try to get in the clinch and leave himself susceptible to getting knocked out or hurt. He has 6 TKOs, but they were all pre-UFC. He isn't a big power striker, and he has been KO'd TKO'd 4 times, and he's susceptible to, shots to the chin and shots to the body. And Oliveira is an incredible BJJ black belt. He's one of the best ever graced the octagon. He likes to back fighters up with kicks, straight punches, go for takedowns against the cage, shoot double legs, chain wrestle from there. If he can get his opponents to the mat, he'll pull guard. Or if he can't get his opponents to the mat with takedowns, he'll pull guard. He doesn't mind fighting off his back either, as long as he can get you on the floor. And all of his shots are very risky because he puts 100% of his body weight into him. If he doesn't get him, he'll exhaust himself. He can end up in bad positions on bottom. But his best takedowns are in a clinch due to his length. He has great body lock trips. He can land right into side control. When he gets on top, he's exceptional with his guard passing. He'll transition to dominant position seamlessly. He loves to get the mount where he'll attack with heavy elbows until he gets the back, gets the rear naked choke. He has a great body triangle attack with shots that soften his opponents up before he sneaks the arm under the chin. He can transition to arm bars from the back mount. And off his back, he's amazing as well. He has great arm bars, triangles, very fast hips, great front strokes such as guillotines, anacondas, darces. He's very good at diving on guillotines. And he'll attack with leg locks, but in doing that, he got caught with the leg lock in Jim Miller in his last fight. And, Oliveira seems to put everything into submission attempts, breaks if he cannot get them. He has quit mentality in fights, in my opinion. And Miller's going to be the tougher fighter mentally. Oliveira needs to be the one moving forward here. If he can use his striking and push Miller towards the cage, he should try to put power in his shots, hurt Miller with knees, front elbows, front kicks, round kicks to the face. And I would work my takedowns from the clinch, not choose range takedowns against Miller, because I feel like if he does, he could potentially get worn out. I also would not go extremely hard for the submission if it isn't there, but know when to let go or know when to go for it. And this is a very close fight for me, and the line is off. Jim Miller looked great in his last fight, and having first round finish with Charles already, I see him coming in here very confident. And this has to be a big fight for Oliveira. He has to be the one wanting to come in here and prove he's a better fighter than he was 8 years ago. But I think this is still a hard style matchup for him. Miller is going to be the more dangerous fighter in close range, and Oliveira's tall stance is susceptible to straight and overhand lefts. He also won't be afraid to take Oliveira down, work on top. He needs to be careful not to get hit by a knee or caught in a submission, but I feel Miller has a great chance to win here. Miller gassed out in recent fights. If this fight goes to a third round, maybe he could get subbed in the round 3, but I'm going to pick Jim Miller to win via second round submission via rear naked choke. I feel Miller will make Oliveira quit with pressure. He'll land leg kicks, hard punches, eventually hurt him and submit him, and Jim Miller's going to keep churning it out at 35 years old. And up next here, Sergio Pettis against Rob Font. Very interesting fight. Sergio Pettis moving back up to 135 pounds after a very successful campaign at flyweight. He lost his last match to Jussier Formiga, but he was 5-2 at flyweight. He had wins over John Moraga, Joseph Benavidez. And Rob Font, he's coming off a loss to Rafael Sunsao. He's on the wrong end of a, usual Sunsao performance. Sunsao kind of dominated him. But he has some big-time knockout victories in the UFC in his own right, and this should be a high-level striking match. Pettis is going to be fighting in his hometown. Definitely is going to have the support of the crowd. But Rob Font's a beast. He's a very technical striker. He has a great jab. He'll double and triple up on it. Does a good job skipping in with the jab, then straight right hand. His straight hand is accurate. He's powerful with it. He has a nice check left hook, right uppercut combination. Good footwork. Does a great job cutting off the cage, keeping opponents on the back foot. He has nice leg kicks, front round kicks to the head, to the body. Nasty knees. Great timing on him to counter takedown attempts. Does a lot of volume, but he can sometimes get too confident, kind of admire his work, bring his chin high, get flat-footed. And I feel that Pettis' speed may pay dividends. He'll be able to maybe land straight punches and overhands when Font tries to close the distance. But, Font's an improved grappler. He tends to try to get opponents down, especially in round 1 now, mix it up. He has good double leg takedowns. He'll use a single to push his opponents to the cage. He has nasty knees, elbows in close, good body lock takedowns, solid single legs. On top, he has strong ground and pound. He's always looking to snatch up the neck. He has a very strong guillotine. He has very good power. Has a lot of nasty KOs in the UFC. He's finished all his UFC wins. He's 4 KO TKOs and 5 wins, 7 knockouts overall. Good chin. He's never been finished. He's fought fighters such as John Lineker. He will get into a bit of a defensive shell when he gets hit. He'll back up, which has lost him some fights, but he has good cardio. He can go for all 3 rounds. Von needs to pressure Pettis with jabs, straight punches, back him to the cage, mixing grappling exchanges. He has good wrestling against the cage. If he could put Pettis on his back, it would help him win a decision. But Sergio Pettis is looking to jump right into bantamweight with a ranked win. He's only 1 fight away from a title fight at featherweight, and now he's going to have to rebuild after that loss to Formiga. But he's a fantastic, very technical striker. He's an excellent striker. He throws tight, straight punches, very little to no telegraph. They're deadly accurate. He also has very formidable kicks in his arsenal as well. Nice leg kicks, very nice round kicks, front kicks to the body. He also throws hook kicks to the face. He's one of the best jabs in the UFC. He does a great job jabbing in the pocket, stepping back, and then doing a pull counter. He lands short shots at fighters that fighters don't see coming. And, his counter right hand's very nice. He'll throw accurate check left hooks. He really hurt Joe Benavidez with the check left hook. He does a fantastic job controlling the center of the cage, switching stances. He'll walk opponents down, and if they try to blitz him, angle, switch stances, and jab from the opposite stance. He has very good defense, and he always keeps opponents at the end of his punches. But the few times he's been clipped, he's shown maybe he doesn't have the best chin. He has been finished twice in the UFC early in his UFC career. And he doesn't have big power. He only has 3 TKOs and just none in the UFC. He isn't a grappler that his brother Anthony Pettis is. And his guard is not as dangerous. If he gets taken down, he won't be in. I don't think he'll be in serious trouble. But I think that he'll have a hard time getting back up. And he does a good job with range control. He never gets stuck, gets cage stayed in front of his opponents. It makes them hard for them to time a shot. But Henry Cejudo and Formiga were able to shoot, get doubles and singles. His takedown defense has definitely improved. Benavidez is a great wrestler. He struggled to take Pettis down. Pettis was also able to make him pay when he closed distance with short, stinging shots. But Benavidez was able to get in the clinch. He was able to get a few takedowns himself. And Pettis will try to go for takedown or guillotines. If he can time the takedown attempt, he'll throw up submissions from his guard. But fighters have been able to easily pass his guard. And Pettis should look to control the center, dictate the pace in this fight. If he can land leg kicks, bait Fon in with counters, and then counter with the straight right overhands, he may be the faster, more crisp striker. But I'm going to go with Rob Fon in this match. I feel he's going to be able to mix in wrestling, get takedowns. I think he'll also have the bigger power. He could land clean and hurt Sergio. And this fight is solely contested on the feet. It's very close, but I think Rob Fon will take the decision. So I'm going to go with Rob Fon to get the win here. And up next we have Edson Barboza against Dan Hooker. And this is a very interesting fight. Dan Hooker has been on a roll lately and Edson hasn't, so it's kind of a striking fan's dream. Both guys are long, dynamic strikers who can knock fighters out with punches, knees, kicks. Barboza's a long-time veteran. He's fought everyone in the sport, while Dan Hooker is the upstart trying to make his name. Barboza has lost back-to-back fights, but they were against 2 premier wrestlers in the division. Now he's going to get a striking fight, which is what he wants. And Dan Hooker's looked excellent since moving to 155, and he's riding back-to-back knockout streak. But Barboza needs to win here, and with the loss, he would be kind of in no man's land in his career. He's changed camp for this fight. He's out of ATT, so he's getting good sparring. And Barboza's one of the biggest knockout artists in the sport. His knockouts of Terry Adam, near Dariush were a thing of beauty. He's great at maintaining distance, staying at his range. He has nasty low leg kicks, big jabs. Stays at kicking range. He does a great job using his jab, then pull countering his opponent with his left hook. Very fast hand speed. He can counter with that left hook and exit out. He'll dig to the body with the left hook, and he'll always throw a left uppercut as well. Barboza has nasty flying knees. He does a great job of figuring out how his opponents set up their takedowns, countering with it. His switch kicks to the body are super fast. I feel his overall speed will give Hooker a lot of issues. I see his low kick being very effective in this match because Hooker stands tall. He's heavy on his lead leg. He has nasty spinning back kicks to the body, to the head, some of the best of all time. And Barboza has improved defensively, but he still has the same problems with pressure fighters. He backs to the cage. He allows fighters to close the distance with punches for takedowns. And, fighters are effective when they close the distance, when they pressure, when they smother his kicks. They don't let Barboza fight a range striking match. But he has 10 KO TKOs. He's only been finished once by strikes. He was stopped by a doctor stoppage against Kevin Lee in his last fight, but he took a lot of damage. And he's kind of shown to be a little bit chinny, He got dropped by a jab, submitted by Cerrone. but he took a massive amount of damage in his last 2 fights. It's hard to know how his chin will bounce back, but he showed the ability to take a lot of punishment, not quit or get knocked out in those matches. And Barboza is very athletic. He's even started to implement some takedowns of his own later in his UFC career. He has a decent double leg. He'll get in the clinch, drive through with and trip his opponents to the mat. He does a good job catching kicks, dumping opponents. He has very good takedown defense. Even though he got taken down by his last 2 opponents, that's kind of an anomaly with guys like Kevin Lee and Khabib. He has very fast reactions. He could sprawl on double leg singles from the outside, very strong hips. And even when fighters are able to get on his legs, he could shuck them off. He does a good job getting an overhook, forcing double legs into a clinch where he has nasty knees to the body. He's strong overall. He has only been taken out held on really by Khabib and Kevin Lee. Everyone knows their pedigrees, and Barboza's not an active seeker of submission. He hasn't had a submission since 2009. He only has 1 in his whole career. But he has good submission defense. He's only been submitted after being stunned on the feet by Tony Ferguson and Cerrone. And Barboza's going to get a range striking fight here, which is where he thrives. He needs to use his leg kicks, left hook to the head, to the body. I feel he's going to be the much faster fighter in my opinion. If he can find his range with his kicks, his punching combinations, exit, he should dominate the fight. But he has to be careful not to be hit with a jab, a straight punch he doesn't see coming, then dropped it submitted, which we've seen previously. And Dan Hooker's looked like a new fighter since he moved to 155. He dusted Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns just had a very impressive performance in less than 3 minutes. He's going to be trained with Israel Adesanya in the lead up to this fight, which is a good look for Barboza. And Hooker has a great jab, nice straight right hand, uses great movement angles. He will keep fighters on the end of his punches. He'll switch stances a lot. He could jab off both stances. He makes himself tricky. He'll also switch stance mid-combination, throw straight punches when he sees his opponents trying to come in. He'll angle off. He'll catch him, then angle off. He was able to overwhelm Burns with his precision, hurt him early. And Burns was very deliberate in that fight. He was easy to see coming in. This is a much harder matchup. He has great leg kicks. Great snap kicks to the body, nice snap kicks to the head. He has a really nice snap front kick. He has a great lead knee. Knocked out Jim Miller, Ross Pearson with it. And he's riding a 4-fight win streak, 4-fight finish streak, and he hasn't really taken much damage in those fights. He's a veteran, does a great job picking up the pace as the fight goes on. He has 5 knockouts, most by head kick. He's never been finished by strikes. And he's a solid grappler, but not much of a wrestler. He'll try to close the distance, get the fight against the cage, go for singles and doubles. He also has, decent clinch trips, and his height gives himself an advantage in those positions, but he does a good job getting the back when he gets on top. He has good control, long arms. He could try to find the choke. His takedown defense is not great, but he has awesome guillotine he'll counter with when fighters attempt takedowns on him. He has a great squeeze. He has 7 submissions. He is susceptible to beat up submitted if he's put on his back. He's been submitted twice, but I don't see Barboza grappling much in this fight. Hooker needs to pressure Barboza, get him moving backwards, throw more volume. He needs to throw a lot of straight punches, jabs, try to make Barboza make a mistake, catch him closing distance. And I could see Hooker landing a jab or straight punch, hurting Barboza, jumping on a guillotine for a submission victory. But I'm actually going to go with Edson Barboza here. I feel he's going to have a massive speed advantage. And Hooker isn't a fighter who pressures, and I think he's going to give him a range striking match. I feel if he tries to pressure Edson too heavy, he can counter with left hooks to the head, to the body, hard leg kicks. And I see Barboza slowly pulling away on points as the fight goes on, winning a decision, very similar to his fight against Anthony Pettis, if not getting a knockout here. But up next we have the main event of the evening. Great fight, Kevin Lee against Iaquinta. And this is a rematch, from 4 years ago. And, Iaquinta won the first fight. Now in the second fight, he's a prohibitive underdog 4 years later. That fight was Kevin Lee's UFC debut. He's 21 years old. Kevin Lee's been probably one of the most active fighters in the lightweight division. He skyrocketed into an interim title fight with Tony Ferguson. Now Iaquinta has struggled with a lot of injuries, and after a win streak, he lost the decision, but he had a very inspiring performance on short notice against Khabib and kind of re-announced himself. And Kevin Lee's really improved his striking, his boxing in particular. He trains with Dewey Cooper at Mayweather Boxing Gym and gets great boxing work in there. And he has a strong jab, nice one too. He'll lead with a straight right hand. He's a very powerful puncher. And he likes to counter with his left hook as fighters close the distance. He has the power to make a puncher respect him on the feet. Does a lot of kicks, hard leg kicks, body kicks. Throws front kicks to the body, to the head. He landed a nice head kick on Francisco Trinaldo. He's good at changing stances. Francisco Trinaldo landed a nice head kick on him. I don't remember. Sorry, I don't remember actually, to be honest with you. But I remember that he beat Trinaldo. So whatever happened, he won the fight. But He has good head kicks. He's good at changing stances, throwing kicks to the open side. He can throw kicks with both legs from both stances very fluidly. Does a good job faking level changes, coming over the top with the overhands. He can lose focus at time after he lands shots and not defend himself. He's susceptible to counters. He gets caught admiring his work, and he's gotten much better with that, though. After feeling Iaquinta's power in their last fight, I see him having his defense on point. And he has big power, but he only has two KO TKOs himself because he's much more of a wrestler. He has a good chain. He's only been finished one time by strikes. He's a huge lightweight, super physical, great double legs. He'll drive his opponents to the cage with a double leg. He's extremely strong. He can land big double leg slams when he locks his hands together. His long reach allows him to get in on the legs from way long out. He's a good chain wrestler. He shoots doubles. Single legs in space, get to double legs. He has good clinch takedowns. On top, he's amazing. He has nasty ground and pound, sick elbows, sick hammer fists, very heavy on top, great back takes, great rear naked chokes. He almost got a rear naked choke against Iaquinta in their first fight, and he's gotten them against great grapplers, like Michael Chiesa. He showed phenomenal cardio in his last match. He pushed an incredible pace. He was able to survive a spinning back kick, which almost KO'd him, and recover very quickly. And Kevin Lee should take Al down and get the back over the rear naked choke. Like I said, he almost got it in the first match. He's much improved since then. He should look to set up his takedowns with punching combinations. After he can get Iaquinta tired, I see him landing a jab, kicks from the outside rather easily. Khabib was able to land his jabs on Iaquinta, and his jab isn't as good as Lee, and his reach isn't as long. And now Iaquinta, he's a former college wrestler with heavy hands. He's a boxer. He uses solid footwork movement, and he'll try to make you come to him with counter with his right hand. He has big power in that shot. He could turn the fight with it. And he has a decent left hook, decent jab, leg kick. And he will get wild at times coming with looping hooks. He can miss very badly. He'll shoot for single leg takedowns, but he doesn't have great drive on his takedowns. I've actually never seen him land a takedown in these last few fights that he's had. But he hasn't been taken down either. He has good defense. He got taken down by Khabib a few times. He showed a good butterfly guard, was able to get up. He was pounded on a bit. But he hasn't faced top shelf competition besides Khabib, and I thought he lost that fight against George Masvidal, but he'll eat shots to give his own. His defense is solid, but not great. He can get tagged and hurt. Joe Lozon was able to tag him with straight punching combinations. He has great cardio. He'll push and throw a lot of strikes to win decisions by, grit and toughness. He has good takedown defense. He'll use overhooks to deny doubles, show good balance, move to the back, moving his back to the cage on singles. He has nice switches. If he does get taken down, he has a nice butterfly guard. He'll work back to his feet. Tough guy. He won't ever tap, He's been choked unconscious quite a few times, or a couple times in the UFC, once by Michael Chiesa and once by Mitch Clark. And, for this fight, though, I just feel as if Kevin Lee's progressed much more than Al Iaquinta, man. I feel like he's the better fighter at this point in their career. I feel like the line's correct, and I feel like he's going to be able to go in there and kind of bully Al Iaquinta and get a finish, man. I feel like Kevin Lee's going to go out there and try to prove a point. I think he's fighting the opponent of Khabib for a reason. He wants to win easier than Khabib did, wants to take him out. So I'm going to go with Kevin Lee to win via third round, ground and pound TKO and or rear naked choke in that fight. But, it's an interesting fight because Al Iaquinta obviously probably has a little bit of a mental edge on Kevin Lee, having beat him in the past. But, if I had to give you guys a parlay of the week for this fight, fight card, I would probably say to do Zach Cummings and Juan Adams. I feel like that's a fairly safe play. But, I feel like Dan Ige is also another parlay piece you could potentially use. And I also really like Michael Chandler as a parlay piece from Bellator. Has a little bit of a high price tag, but I feel like he definitely will get the win. Good person to parlay in this week with fights. But overall, I feel like there could be a lot of upsets, like I said, on this card, such as, Jim Miller, Mike Rodriguez, Jessica Rose Clark. But, I feel like it could also be a great fun card, a lot of fireworks. And thanks for watching. I'm still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We're almost about to hit that 900 mark, which is pretty good. And, hopefully we can do it. We only have one more card after this one, but hopefully we can get some more people to subscribe, do well this week, do well next week, end the year strong. And thanks for the support over the whole year, man. I really appreciate it. Everyone following, everyone watching, commenting. So make sure to, comment, like, subscribe. Tell me who you think's gonna win. Tell me what you think of my picks. Tell me what parlays you're doing, what plays you're doing, and how you did on UFC 231, what you thought of that card.
But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks for John Jones versus Gustafsson.